Good afternoon, friends,
Hello, sir.
and welcome back to this important lecture series, and that is the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav, a series started by ICAR in addition to many other activities which have been taken to celebrate this important event. Friends, today we have a very tall personality, a well-known figure in the not only in Indian agriculture but also at the international level. And to introduce such a tall personality is a very difficult task given to me. Dr. Raj Singh Paroda, Dr. R.S. Paroda, which we know popularly, he is, as you know all, he has been at various positions in ICAR, and he has a very vast experience. And the important topic which has been chosen for today's talk for the benefit of all of you is the role of youth for a secure and sustainable agriculture. Because we know the sustainability is the keyword. We talk for the sustainable development goals, we talk for sustainable energy sources, anything sustainable. So we have to talk for the sustainable agriculture also, and for which we cannot have any better person than Dr. Paroda, with his vast experience and with his great vision which he has got. Friends, Dr. Raj Singh Paroda, Dr. R.S. Paroda, as I told you, is the founding chairman of TAS. Dr. Paroda has made valuable contributions in the field of agriculture, both as a researcher and an able administrator. His contributions in the field of plant breeding and genetic resources are globally recognized. Personally, I have worked in NVPR, and we have seen how from the scratch he brought that institute to a global level, global recognition. Dr. Paroda was born in Ajmer during 1942. He pursued his PhD from the most prestigious university, that is Indian Agricultural Research Institute, and the PDF from the University of Wales. He has served, as I told you, as the Director of National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, Deputy Director General, a very coveted post of crop science in ICAR headquarters. And he was the regional plant production and production officer in FAO Bangkok. Many other positions. If I start talking on those key posts, I think this requires another lecture for introducing him. During the period 1904 to 2001, he spearheaded and modernized the National Agricultural Research System as a Director General ICAR and Secretary Department of Agricultural Research and Education. Under his dynamic leadership, more than 30 new national institutes were created in crops, horticulture, livestock, natural resource management, fisheries, you name anything, it is there. And sir, most of the directors are present there. The beneficiary directors who got the benefit of the infrastructure, the new system under your dynamic leadership, they are present today in this lecture. Dr. Paroda is the main architect of one of the world's largest and most modern national gene bank in New Delhi, which I think is number 1 or number 2 in the world as far as the number of accessions are concerned. And it has very valuable germplasm accessions which have been used widely in many varieties which have been developed by different breeders. The impressive National Agriculture Science Center, we all are witnessing, we all are the beneficiary of that beautiful campus. It was built on Pusa campus. He was the main architect and he was the person who initiated that complete complex. Dr. Paroda received several national and international awards. You name any award, it is there. And the most prestigious being the Padma Bhushan. We congratulate you, sir, for such a large number of awards, and you truly deserve, and you are really the torch bearer for all the agricultural scientists. You are really the role model for all the scientists, for the students, for the faculty, and for all the RMPs, I can say. There is a long list of awards, but as I told you, name any award, whether it's a Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Award, whether it's an ICAR Team Award, FICCI Award, Asia Pacific Seed Association Special Award, CGIR Award, Lifetime Award by many societies, and including Agricultural Scientists in America, Harbhajan Singh Memorial Award, and many more awards. Dr. Paroda has been conferred fellowship of most of the national science academies, to name a few like INSA, NAS, NASI. He was elected as General President of the prestigious Indian Science Congress, one of the most prestigious and most important Congress, I can say, during 2000 and 2001. Dr. Paroda had also been conferred honorary DSc by 18 academic institutions and universities. Again, a big accomplishment. For the overall benefit of the farmers, lately Dr. Paroda served as Chairman, Farmers Commission of Haryana, Chairman of Working Group on Agriculture and member of Rajasthan Planning Board. Under his direction, the state agriculture policies both in Haryana and Rajasthan were approved. Currently, he is member of Strategic Impact Monitoring and Evaluation Monitoring Committee of CGIR and also serving on the board of International Fertilizer Development Center. And as chairman of the TAS, his goal during last 2 decades is to link science to society through policy, advocacy, and public awareness. Sir, we welcome you and we thank you for accepting this invitation to deliver the talk on this very important platform, which is attended by vice chancellors, directors, our DDGs, and many other luminaries, many other great agricultural scientists who have worked in various capacities. And to name a few, you can see today Professor R.B. Singh, to whom I have requested to chair this session, because Dr. Mohapatra, just at 3 o'clock, he has been called by Honorable Minister for some urgent meeting. But if he's free, he can join. You can see Dr. Bengali Babu, Dr. Chalali, you can see many vice chancellors, to name a few, Dr. Rameshwar Singh, the vice chancellor of Basu, from Kerala Agriculture University, and many other vice chancellors you can see. And this platform has been shared in the past by many other experts, and I've been sharing all those links to everybody. And you can see from Niti Aayog, you can see from foreign, you can see from many other departments. Recently from DST, the secretary spoke on a very important topic, the saga of science. And not only the science, we also talk on the policy. We also talk, we had talks on motivational yoga, COVID, and many other topics. So this platform has been so much appreciated by the persons that I'm getting the request that don't stop this after 15th August 2022. Continue this. The frequency may not be the weekly, frequency can be monthly. So, and that is because of the blessings of persons like you. And I request Professor R.B. Singh also to kindly chair this session. And I hand over the floor to you, Dr. Paroda, sir, please.
Well, thank you, Dr. Rakesh Agarwal, for very generous introduction and the opportunity to speak today on an important topic which is now very dear to my heart, relating to role of youth for a secure and sustainable agriculture. While we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of our independence, I would like to congratulate all of those who are present. Especially I am privileged to have my elder brother and colleague, Professor R.B. Singh, to chair this lecture. Nothing would give more pleasure. And to see many good friends and colleagues attending and being with us to just share some of these thoughts, which I am going to present before you. Perhaps I am, and maybe R.B. Singh and a few more, are the ones who were born before independence. And therefore, I would say we are from the generation which was not independent India. And most of those who are attending today had been possibly born after independence. We have come a long way. When I was born, my mother used to tell that after 1 year, there was a famous Bengal famine. More than 3 million people had died, and those people uh, did not die because of any disease, pandemic, but because of hunger, because of wrong policy at that time. After that, we have seen that we were also called begging bowl, and we didn't have enough food to feed our ever-growing population. And that was the time when I was also a student at Pusa Institute, when the seeds of Green Revolution were being sown. And we worked with both Dr. Borlaug and Swaminathan in Jonti village, dibbling those few selected seeds which had come from Mexico for testing. At this stage, I would like to say that nothing would give me more pleasure to talk about the role of youth for a secure and sustainable agriculture. You would possibly guess it after I complete this presentation. And in that direction, I would like to bring with you the context of Indian agriculture. Today, in the overall economy, though we are contributing only 20%, but when we were declared independent, we were contributing almost more than 70%. Though the other sectors have also been now playing their role, but I would say agriculture is still an important sector because it sustains more than 50% of the population around it. And we have been able to demonstrate to the rest of the world that we are not only meeting our own demand, but we are one of the important exporting countries in the world. Today, we are happy to notice that even country like Egypt is asking for import of 1 million tons of wheat from India. The scenario has changed. We have come a long way. In this regard, if we look at the impact of Green Revolution, we have beaten our growth of population, which almost was to the level of 330 million, now 1.39 billion. And we have grown our food grains by almost, say, 6 times. We are still adding one Australia to our population. We have reduced poverty from 70 to 20%, and our buffer stocks, and we had even touched last year 85 million tons. And export of food grains, which we were importing, around 10 million. And when we didn't have money to buy, under PL 480, we are now able to export more than 20 million tons of food grains, mainly rice, but now it seems we will also be exporting wheat as we go along. I am reminded of the celebration of our Golden Jubilee of independence when in Central Hall of Parliament, the then President Dr. K.R. Narayanan had said that if we have achieved 2 important things after independence, then one is self-sufficiency in terms of food grains. We are feeding our people, and this has raised our head high. And the second is that we have increased the life expectancy and doubled it from 32 to 64 years. Now today it is 68 years. We have therefore come a long way, and both food security and life expectancy would have not been possible had there not been enough to feed the people, which are increasing still at the rate of about 1.2%. Evolution, largest milk producer in the world. We have also now golden revolution, or sometimes we call rainbow revolution, where our horticulture production has even excelled for last more than 5 years, that of the food grain production. And we have had also the blue revolution, thanks to inland fishery, that our production has, though from marine declined, but from inland it has increased. And today we are producing almost 13.4 million tons. Globally, when we look at, we are now ranked either number 2 or number 1. Whether you take rice, wheat, pulses, rapeseed, groundnut, fruits, vegetables, sugarcane, milk, and in the meat also we have all the potential because we have the largest animal population, and if efforts are made through the livestock mission as expected, we would definitely make an impact in the animal sector as well. So when we say green, white, blue revolutions, then why there is need for any reorientation of Indian agriculture? I think we have had everything. We should be proud. And many times it is said that we have become now complacent. And often it is also said that we have worked and we are much better in performance when there is crisis. When we had crisis, we could become self-sufficient in food grains. When we had crisis and decided to increase our oilseed production through oilseed mission, we almost reduced our import to nil at that time. And we recently even had crisis for pulses production. In just 4 years' time, we could demonstrate that we can meet our pulse requirement if efforts are made in right direction and technologies that are available are scaled to the benefit of our people. So despite these revolutions, why we are talking of doubling farmers' income? This is a major challenge. This is the government's major agenda today. And because we know that over the Green Revolution time, we definitely overexploited natural resources. And many of those inputs that we have been using are becoming now much costlier than what they used to be. And in that process now, the prices of fertilizer, the prices of energy, even the fuel is all going up, and pesticides. So the problem farmer is facing is second generation problem of factor productivity decline, of also poor soil health, and also lowering of water table, and above all, increased incidence of pests and diseases, and increase in temperature and terminal heat, causing now great reduction in the yields of various important food crops. So we have challenges, and challenges at a global level, like that of sustainable development goals, which are related to poverty, hunger, malnutrition, climate change. And at the national level, we have farmer-related problems, the low income, and the most important problem which farmers are facing, even in the Green Revolution belt, where I was chairman of the Farmers Commission. When I talked to the progressive farmers, what do they need? They said, how can we retain and encourage youth to embrace agriculture as profession? This is our major challenge, and nobody wants to remain in agriculture. And then also their major requirement was that not subsidy, but we need better knowledge. And obviously, farmer-related issues relate to policy support, enabling policy environment, and that's why government is coming up with various programs of supporting farmers in many ways, which all you are aware. So even ministry, I would like to say, congratulate the Honorable PM to have renamed the Ministry of Agriculture to give the focus on farmers' welfare. So it is not now Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperation, but it is Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. We have been all the time told and telling कि भारत एक कृषक प्रधान देश है, पर हमने कृषक को प्रधान कभी नहीं बनाया. So now time has come to make our farmer first. And this is the important aspect and challenge. And this farmer cannot be first unless the youth in agriculture take the challenge and embrace agriculture and provide the needed support to make agriculture more secure and sustainable. What farmer need is to overcome his risk against all odds, whether climate change and other weather calamities, or whether it is with regard to higher cost of input. So we have to increase productivity. We have to provide farmers technology which they can reduce cost on it, and above all, they must now link themselves to market. So it is not only the production problem, but it is now post-production problem, value addition problem, and value chain becomes now much more important. For this particular purpose, even government took an initiative and constituted a committee, which I happen to chair, relating to policies and action plan for a secure and sustainable agriculture. The report was given in August 2019 and really had looked at the various concerns of farmers and what more can be done to improve their plight. We know that farmers now need good land and healthy soils. Soils are more thirsty than hungry, as Dr. Randhawa used to. Rather, soils are more hungry than thirsty, which Dr. Randhawa used to say. Adequate, good quality water is required. Timely supply of key inputs to the farmers and technologies, access to the knowledge, and through efficient extension services so that there are no dissemination losses, access to the credit at low interest rate, and linkage to national and global markets, and above all, the respect and dignity in the society to attract youth in agriculture. Let me tell you, when I decided to take agriculture as my subject for higher education, all my class fellows laughed at me because that time it was a craze for people to either go to medical side or to become engineer. Agriculture was possibly not even thought to be a technical subject. And in retrospect, let me tell you that I have no regret for having accepted and taken this challenge. But no doubt, still we are struggling whether agriculture gets that kind of dignity in society which it deserves, despite of what accomplishments we have made. In that context now, when we look at the youth, there are obvious challenges before them. First is they need better knowledge. They don't want to experience right in the beginning the failures because of lack of knowledge. And that's why they need institutional backup. No exposure to agriculture in schools they have. Thanks to the new education policy that government has now agreed to see that agriculture will be taught as a subject in schools. We have been demanding it for long, and I'm glad it has happened now. Hopefully it will be implemented soon. Because unless child knows where potato grows, whether above soil or below soil, how would he appreciate the subject of agriculture? Limited access to land. Mostly the farmers have 85% have small holdings below 2 hectares of land. Lack of financial resources. They don't know where to go and from where to get resources to begin any new enterprise, and difficulties in linking to market because middle people and the organized farm sector would not let farmers, and the laws also, which we had, which we wanted to change, to see that farmers are free to sell where they want. So these are the difficulties of marketing. No voice and decision making in the house. Uh, Senior people would hardly listen to the young people, and I will tell a story on this later, and poor social image of agriculture, which I have mentioned. And in fact, there exists aspiration and attainment gap due to the lack of handholding, mentorship, and funding support. So how can we bridge this gap of aspiration and attainment by youth in agriculture? So what is the way forward? When we look at youth, youth is our great strength. I think that globally we should be proud of it, in the sense, on one side, no doubt we have more population, but to have higher population of young people is a strength for the nation to build a future which is brighter. Global population, we know, is expected to be 9 billion by 2050. Youth will be around 20%. India has a comparative advantage over other countries. We have the largest population of youth, even more than China, that is of 356 million, ranging between 10 to 24 years of the age group. And of these, around 200 million live in rural areas. So they are having their living either directly or indirectly around agriculture as a profession. India's population is expected to remain young, longer than that of China and even Indonesia, which are two thickly populated countries in Asia. Average age of the Indian population is 30 years, as against 40 in USA, 46 in Europe, and 47 in Japan. So you can see we have all the bright future. And when I said we are the generation prior to independence, now is the generation which is the second generation, which has also served their purpose and served the nation. And now the third generation is of youth. And we are now talking of this third generation after independence, which has to take all the challenge for future. So agriculture is a key sector. It has sustains still 55% of people, and youth and agriculture are the twin pillars for achieving sustainable development goals. This we have very clearly realized through various conferences and seminars. Challenge to retain youth in agriculture first figured prominently during the global conference that was organized for agriculture research and development through Global Forum on Agriculture Research, which I happen to chair, which is based in FAO. And that time, Dr. Adil Beltagi was chair of GFAR, and I was chair of the program committee. And we organized, and there when this conference was held in New Delhi, that and the Prime Minister that time had inaugurated it, that unless you embrace youth in agriculture, probably needed security and sustainability would not be possible. An international forum for young professionals for agriculture development was immediately launched by us at FAO under the umbrella of GFAR. We call it YPARD. And this was the beginning of youth movement in agriculture globally. The importance of youth in agriculture was further emphasized and structurally debated during the two global conferences on agriculture research and development, 1 and 2 organized in 2000 in Montpellier, France, and 2012 in Uruguay. Both of these I happened to organize as advisor for the technical program. And there we had brought in more than 100 to 150 youth supported by European Union and other donors, because they all realized that unless this is done, probably we will not be able to accomplish what we want. Then regional workshop on youth and agriculture was also organized in Islamabad through APARI, which I happen to also serve as executive secretary in 2013, and where all national leaders from the region had participated. And we came out with the GCARD roadmap, which very clearly highlights that the role of youth in agriculture and bringing them in the fold and decision making at all levels. Whether it is board, whether it is the association, whether it is farmers producer organizations, and whether it is cooperative. And then you see the GFR and YPART logo, both which were devised at that time. And these are the initiatives at global level. I'm just trying to give you a background how important this initiative of youth is being considered globally now. Then at national level, we started when I returned back in 2008 and 9, ICAR and TAS jointly organized a workshop on foresight and future pathways of agriculture research through involvement of youth in India at New Delhi. Dr. Eppen was at that time the Director General. And immediately after 2013, in 2014, a program of attracting and retaining youth in agriculture, ARIA, was initiated, which is run by the Division of Agricultural Extension. And Dr. A.K. Singh is providing all support. Conference on motivating and attracting youth in agriculture then was organized again in 2018. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan and me and our both TAS and MSS decided to hold this, and we realized that it is not that you can expect youth to be attracted to agriculture unless you motivate them and convince them to embrace agriculture as profession. So this conference and all these proceedings, what you see are listed on all sides here, were from those conferences. And then we started that it is not one-time dialogue. This must continue at regional level, rather in all parts of the country, rather in each state of the country. And I would say now even in each KVK of the district, that zonal workshop on youth as torchbearers of business-oriented agriculture, which we organized in South Asia. Dr. Praveen Rao was a key figure to organize it, and zonal workshop was also organized in Ludhiana for the North India, and Dr. B.S. Dillon was that time the key person to have it organized, and we participated. I can tell you from the participation and innovative ideas which the youth expressed in terms of what they can do and what new innovation they can bring in for agriculture and make agriculture more sustainable was mind-boggling. We need to identify such young people and provide them handholding, make sure that there is institutional backup, and also make sure that there is needed credit to begin with, and they then become important entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, not as job seekers, but to create jobs. So motivating and attracting youth is now a new buzzword, Maya. माया है तो सब कुछ है, और youth अगर agriculture में है तो सब कुछ है. This is what it is. And youth, including women, as extension agents, I would mention about it later, but the time has come when we need no discipline law, especially for those technologies which are not those kinds of miracle wheats and rices, which were picked up very quickly by farmers when they saw the quantum jump in yield. When you want to talk of conserving natural resources, farmer doesn't have patience to wait for 2 to 3 years to see if a legume crop is grown instead of cereal, then he will be saving on nitrogen use in the next subsequent crops and cropping seasons. Youth as input provider, the right input at right time on their doorstep, and youth as entrepreneur who will produce biofertilizers, who will produce biopesticides, who will provide the knowledge on fertigation, who will talk about the innovative agriculture relating to secondary and especially agriculture. And farmer is not keen and youth is not keen to continue with traditional agricultural practices. They have to be provided new directions and new dimensions. And in that respect, initiatives on youth are already there. There are many of these now. A program I talked about ARIA. Also, we started realizing that graduates are not well exposed to rural environment and the problems of farmers. So when I was in the council, we started the what we call is the Ravi program, which now is being renamed as Rural Entrepreneurship Awareness Development Yojana. Earlier it was Rural Agriculture Work Experience of 6 months, funded by ICAR to all the graduate students in final year. Now, this kind of exposure is required. Startup India, Ministry of Commerce is there, Stand Up India, Department of Financial Resources and Services there, and National Skill Development Mission is there, where agriculture is also figuring prominently. And there are also initiatives on youth, Make in India, Skill India Mission, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PM Yuva. So there are opportunities, but are these youth aware of these opportunities? When I wanted to know from farmers in Haryana whether they are aware as to which of the government schemes in terms of subsidy or support which they can get, many of them said they are not aware about those. And when I wanted to collect the information, it took us 6 months to collect that information and for which support, which scheme, what are the new rules, because rules go on changing. And then to whom to contact and where is the proforma and on which proforma to apply where, at what time. Therefore, farmer want to do something new or youth want to do something new, we will have to see that these are provided. So youth in agriculture has options. Options like agriculture diversification. We now want diversification even of rice wheat. There are incentives and there are also other efforts which are going on. Secondary agriculture, specialty agriculture, farm production to post-production through value chain. And so the stage is now set for consolidating the gains involving youth, not by traditional farmers alone. And in that context, when we look at the possible options, we will have to think globally, but make sure that we act locally. And for that, I just cite this example of one young farmer, not even well-trained graduate, a son of a farmer in Karnal, had about 5 acres of barren land, which was saline, and nothing was being produced. So he talked to his parents that, can I make a pond in 1 acre if you allow me? And they laughed at him that what he will do by digging a pond. He said, I will dig a pond and use brackish water and go in for fishery production. He started with about 2,800,000 rupees to begin with. In the first year itself, he earned about 1.62 lakhs, which gave him confidence to move forward. Then he moved to villages around and took, all the Gram Panchayat ponds and on lease basis, cleaned them and started growing fish and he started earning himself as well as earning for Panchayat anywhere between 5 to 15 lakhs annually. Today he is having on lease maybe more than 200 acres of ponds around the entire country. He got knowledge. He went himself, not agriculture graduate. He went to CIFE, CIFT, CIFA, CIFRI, even abroad, and went to KVKs and learned the trick of fish, not only fish farming, but also for fish spawn production. And today he is the largest supplier of fish seed in northern India. And he wanted then to link himself to the market. So he started like McDonald's or KFC outlets, Fish Bite, the name Fish Bite. And he is now exporting the cutlets, fish cutlets abroad. And he doesn't let any uh, the aspect of fish wasted, whether it is fish bone or whether it is fish for the eating purpose or even going for the spawn production. And we recognized him, gave him award from Haryana. Then from ICAR, he got Best Farmer Award. And then 2 years back, he got Padma Shri Award. I can cite many such examples. There were about 10 farmers who got Padma Shri about 3 years back. And it is highly encouraging to see, and these are all success stories. There are success stories like this young man who graduated from Texas, came back, was working in a laboratory in Harvard. When I once went there and met him, he showed me his work on biopesticides and also biofertilizers. And then I said, what are you going to do? Looking for a regular job in the university or would like to produce these because they are not available to the farmers? He said, sir, I think I see challenge in having entrepreneurship. And therefore, he started with his dynamic nutrient provider. He is producing 22,000 tons for last now in 11 years. He has his own app, which is reaching to 5 lakh farmers. He has a patent in 151 countries. And he is having his business of about 35 crores and hiring more than 200 people. So there are successes, but there are failures also if the knowledge is not right. So elements of success, one is that one should have knowledge from access to some institution and then continuous backstopping. Mentor, someone, even a farmer to farmer, professor could also be an option. Not that only scientist to farmer or extension worker to farmer. Market need assessment is very critical. One must know what is the niche for which he should try to go ahead and exploit. Easy credit and strong will and perseverance. Unless you have will and you have desire to go for hard work, possibly success would not be possible. In that, we have to see that we look at innovations which can be scaled, and scaling is the only way by which we can have success in future. There are many options available. Harnessing science for new gains. Professor R.B. Singh has been talking about these in most of the conferences, whether it is GM crops, whether it is ICT, big data, bioinformatics, genome editing, use of drones, robotics, artificial intelligence, farm mechanization, what we are talking of, zero-till drill, happy seeder, improved soil health, in situ conservation of organic matter, protecting environment through both adaptation and mitigation approaches, and overall sustainability through integrated farming system. Not only crops, not only animals, but maybe crop, animal, agroforestry, fishery, and so on. But we need now incentives for innovation. And these innovations can be scaled. I would say there are many, just a few highlighted here. Farmer is starving for good knowledge, and good knowledge for any NRM related technology is not easy and is not a baby of one individual expert. Therefore, you need to have approach not to individual for extension, but approach of the individual to community. And in that respect, ICT has great scope. I will talk about it. Hybrid technology. It has made wonders. It has increased our production productivity, but still area coverage under most of these hybrids is hardly between 50 to 60%. Why can't we increase it to 90% if the crop is still grown? GM crops, why we stuck only with the cotton, which is not a food crop directly? Why not soybean when we have deficiency of protein, deficiency of oil? Why not mustard and soybean? And why not maize and brinjal when we have quality protein options, and also when we have options of producing more by giving farmers greater benefits? Conservation agriculture, why should we till land? The best examples of conservation globally in 200 million hectare area is in dryland areas. But in India, in dryland, conservation agriculture has not yet picked our attention. Protected cultivation, we started under NATP. 25 years have gone. We have covered around 50,000 hectare area. But when we will have almost 500,000 hectare area, when we look at China, where they have already 2 million hectare area covered. Micro irrigation, we have been able to do well. We now have around 6 million hectare, but when can we make it 10 million hectare out of 66 million irrigated area that we have today? Bioenergy biofuel, government has now come out with a strategy of admixing 20% of ethanol with the diesel or petrol. Then why can't we use sugarcane or maize, of which there are options? Brazil has taken advantage of sugarcane, and USA is now taking advantage of maize. And these two crops also are important for India, where we can raise more. And already we have more buffer stock of sugarcane, which we can not compete globally to export. 4 to 5 million tons of sugarcane we had last year. And this year, I am told we are able to make some dent there, and there will be export of sugar from India as well. Maize has all the potential. Biofortified crop. When we are saying that we have a problem of hunger, then quality protein maize, iron, zinc, rich rice, iron, rich bajra, rich rice, zinc rice, and so on. Several of these. ICT. One of the best success stories we had in the beginning was of ITC, Indian Tobacco Company, called Ichopao. And they have really demonstrated how knowledge can be transferred to improve the livelihood of farmers, while also using more of the inputs in which they are interested. GM crops, success is all before us. What we need is innovation of this kind, and not innovation only, but disruptive innovation, like innovation of this cell phone, which I have here. Now, I can use this cell phone while sitting here and start my tube well in my village, which is 400 kilometers away. And this was installed by a village artisan, not a trained graduate. And disruptive innovation like BT cotton. We had hardly 8 million hectare area, now 12 million hectare. How it became? Because farmers found this more profitable than other crops. Then cotton, now we are the largest producer of cotton in the world. We were at one time importing, and we are a major exporter now, fetching about 4 billion to 5 billion US dollars per annum. And we have reduced the cost of pesticides. We try to bring BT cotton in India so that farmers have to reduce their cost on input and on pesticide. And we were using more than 50% of pesticides in cotton alone out of total pesticide use in agriculture. I think they say the taste of pudding is in eating. So we have seen this. If we didn't have BT cotton, probably there was no case for GM crops in India. But there is policy for using this particular technology, which is otherwise available for other crops and can help farmers in increasing production and reducing their cost on costly inputs. Genome editing, there is option. Now we have in banana, a CRISPR-Cas genome edited banana, which is high in beta carotene. Now the genome editing guidelines have been approved. I hope they clean this material and are able to have the protection for innovation by partnership with Corteva and make sure that benefits of this innovation is available to our farmers. We have biofortified crops. The All India Coordinated Program on Pearl Millet have come out with these hybrids. Some of also these hybrids are from ICAR, but what we need is now scaling them. And scaling them also with the policy support for slight higher price as we get for basmati rice compared to the normal rice. In that respect, also QPM deserves consideration because there is some yield penalty unless we that yield gap for QPM, but it helps otherwise in increasing the growth of the young children or even animals for feed if it is provided. So why not we have a policy to support and come forward with these approaches. Well, time is now almost coming to an end. I would take another 5-7 minutes. There are options, 15-point agenda. ICTI talk, paid extension service is the only way now. Private sector, I do not know what to spray in my crop of whether it is say citrus or whether it is banana or whether it is a mango if I am in arid horticulture, and which pesticide to use, how much water to be used, which equipment to be used, and what time to be used. So why not have a custom hire service for it on contract basis, like we do in village now. I do not have, I am a farmer now for last almost 20 years. I don't in fact have my own tractor, but I can hire a young person who will come and cultivate my land and will be in a position to have my crops sown the next day as and when I want. Now, in this particular aspect, certified nursery for quality plants is another area, quality input supply, farm mechanization, custom hire centers, agri clinics, post-harvest processing, value addition, micro irrigation, another area, farm producer organizations, protected cultivation, conservation agriculture, accredited laboratories, inland fisheries, spawn production. So all these are great options. And why not? We have accredited labs by the private entrepreneurs for providing the soil and water analysis, because when we are saying we have distributed more than 14 crores of what we call as soil health cards, but then analysis is of what kind they are having. And are they using that analysis to then use specific nutrient and why policy is only for nitrogen use and on nitrogen or urea. Why not, if I need in my field the gypsum, then why should I not have support for gypsum if I have analyzed my, so incentives as per need to make more efficient agriculture, more what you call is precision agriculture, and more secured agriculture. Just few examples quickly. Conservation agriculture. In irrigated areas, we started with Rice Wheat Consortium when I was Deputy Director General. We have so far covered only 2.5. There are successes, but there are again challenges, because you have to work with the farmer and convince them. And then obviously farmer will not be able to, small farmer, to spend on such heavy machinery when the use of machinery is for a very small period. So you have to have a kind of custom hire service centers established by maybe few young entrepreneurs of different machineries, and they can continue earning all the year round and not to let every farmer buy. But you have the successes, like in growing wheat, you can also have and see after rice, you can immediately think of having either wheat and other crops as well. Protected cultivation, I have mentioned to you, great scope, and from the sky is the limit, but again you need the proper knowledge relating to solarization, fertigation, pesticide use, and also which crop or which seed to be used at what time and which seedlings to be used at what time are the issues which have to be looked at. Dr. O.P. Yadav provided me this slide where a low-cost construction has been now tried at Jodhpur, and area of the polyhouse 8 by 16 meters. Production in just 5 months was about 1,500 kg. Rate, I am putting only 100. He said 100 to 400. It can range because of the fluctuations in the market. And farmer can take 3 crops in a year: cucumber, tomato, capsicum, and net income to any youth from such a small area can be anywhere between 4 to 5 lakhs per annum. But this is only possible if the proper knowledge and support is there. In this that are made. There are now opportunities. Shipping containers are the future of farming in the urban areas. One repurposed shipping container can grow 2 acres worth of produce and provide all the green in the supermarkets in these big towns. And then we have also potential of micro irrigation, subsurface drainage system. No one ever thought that rice wheat can also be grown using subsurface drip system. And you can save on water, you can save on fertilizer, increase nitrogen use efficiency, and you can increase production. Why still broadcasting of fertilizers? Why not go in by using these decision support systems? And who can provide this kind of support to the farmer? Probably youth. And that's where I see great opportunity. And why not we have placement of fertilizers in the soil? Why not use even liquid nitrogen, which the developed countries are using? Why not use drones in agriculture? Great options are there, but would require technologies. And my own experience of Arid Horticulture is that you need to take care of your irrigation and water requirement. So micro irrigation, when you are in arid areas, in the dry lands, no other option, but you still can raise good crops and with little water. And that's why I adopted, rather than crops, the arid horticulture. Whether it is beer, whether it is amla, whether it is pomegranate, guava, citrus, chiku, sapota, date palm, and Paroda and fig and whatnot. And there is great potential. So you have to go in for value addition. You have to have diversification. You cannot live on only one particular crop or species, and you have to have sustainability. So conservation agriculture, no tilling the soil, and come out with the technologies for using biofertilizers, biopesticides, also use of rhizobium cultures and whatnot. But you need knowledge for all this. And finally, what you need is links to the market. Linking to the market is the biggest challenge. We created markets for the farmers in Karnal, Rohtak, and also in Panchkula, and asked the farmers to come and start selling their produce from nearby areas. No farmer came forward. Those 100 shops were built. The chief minister got convinced from the idea that we put before him. And then we thought it is a great failure and talked to the farmers. And farmers said, it's a great idea, but we do not know how to sell. हमने कभी हाथ में साफ तराजू तो उठाया ही नहीं. हमारे को सिखाओ कि मार्केटिंग कैसे होती है, भाव कैसे जो है वो फिक्स किया जाता है, और तराजू को तोलने के लिए क्या और साधन है, और कोल्ड स्टोरेज की पॉसिबिलिटीज क्या है, और क्या सारों को एक दिन ही बेचना है या उसको रेगुलेटेड करना है या फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बनानी है. सो ऑल दीज opportunities are there, but would require now involvement of youth. And wherever young people, now we have seen the success of our, milk revolution through cooperative, all being sold every day. You get the price, and youth is mainly involved, whether boy or the girl. So finally, there are various options for food chain, food industry, feed industry, ethanol industry. I talked about that. So we don't have to only sell the raw material and export also the raw material, which we used to do, like in case of guar splits or guar powder. Millets, so many recipes can be made, so many young people can be trained, and all health related, and COVID has given us now a lesson that you have to depend more on systems and take better benefit of your health and also immunity. Whether it is seed spices, you can go in for value addition. Whether it is goat milk, when we realize that goat milk is so good for your health improvement, especially when you are having the problem which we had in the recent past. You can use it in many ways. Added value products, even like what you call is aloe vera. Aloe vera is now used in many ways and has become so popular. Prosopis juliflora, otherwise of no much use for animal, but now you can have animal feed, you can have the pods, and you can take great benefit of this particular plant which grows abundantly in the arid areas. So finally, future roadmap is that if we have to do something for youth, talking would not only help. Why not we have, and this is in our report, we have recommended to the government, a separate department of youth in agriculture. Also, why not have a national mission on youth in agriculture? All these schemes which are there, enormous of schemes to make the entrepreneurship a success in agriculture through national mission. Why not through this mission have agri clinics and custom hire service centers created? why not under this mission we involve youth for electronic national agriculture market, e-name, startup, stand-up, and all other agribusiness enterprises or farmer producer organizations, and a paradigm shift from narrow focus on youth as a farmer to youth as a value chain developer. Unless we have that, like, it is, if somebody sets up a factory, his image in the society goes up. But if you do something in agriculture and start improving the quality and life cycle, cycle of any particular product, then we have to also give them similar encouragement, creating an enabling policy environment through incentives, entrepreneurship, and I have talked earlier. And why not also exempt these youth if they are using the value addition in rural areas through low-cost technologies, some exemption on GST on value-added products, so that they are able to have good market for themselves. I then see that the youth finally is going to help us in improving national economy. The national economy, we are talking of 5 trillion economy, which our Prime Minister has set as target. We are presently at around 2.6 trillion, which means we have to double it. Agriculture is contributing about 20%. And if agriculture produces 20% and support of youth goes to make agriculture more secure and sustainable, we will be easily able to contribute when we are achieving 5 trillion target, 1 trillion from agriculture alone. But when you look at Japan, we are almost, as compared to 4.8, we are 2.6. China, 12.24 trillion. And when you look at the United States, it is, 19.39 trillion, which is 24% of the global economy, 15% in China, and India is only 3.25%. We have to think of 10% target of India's contribution in total global economy and have 5 trillion economy and 1 trillion from agriculture alone. So youth is the only hope for a better future, good health and prosperity. With this, I would like to thank you for your patience, hearing, and giving me this opportunity to talk on a subject which is entirely a new one for me, but I thought is a key one on which we need to lay greater emphasis and embrace youth in future to make a difference, because the challenges of future can only be met following them more actively. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for this, I think, a detailed roadmap which you have given for the engagement of the youth and for the sustainable agriculture, which is not possible without the involvement of the youth. You have given a complete volume of the suggestions, like the 15 options and the roadmap and the way ahead, the way forward, many things connected with this. And I don't think any topic has been left in your talk. So thank you very much, sir. And I see a few questions, if you allow, before I ask the chairman. Dr. Mahotsav also is seeing there. Dr. Saha is saying, sir, that his proposal is to include 2-3 agenda items in your this 15 options from animal science part, like clean milk production and some more points he's trying to say. Dr. B.K. Pandey is saying, sir, we should have system like Uber, Ola and Amul, where Uber, Ola are the service providers for those who cannot afford to have vehicle, and likewise Amul is collecting milk from those who cannot sell in the market. Amul is collecting milk and giving to all. So for your kind comments, please.
Well, I think already there is success in terms of dairy sector involving youth, and that's how we should learn from. One is the cooperative spirit, forming self-help group or farmer producer organization. And the best part of success of any cooperative movement and dairy, which has been analyzed, is that you have to have self-respect for each other, and honesty is the key for success. And shareholding of each one. There is no, one who is superior or other is inferior. So if these things come in for any sector, whether it is a meat sector or whether it is even, live animal sector, Australia has shifted from meat export entirely now to live animal export. India has 500 million livestock, at least, small animals, roughly around 200 million, sheep and goat. And we also have great potential from buffalo meat. We could really make great dent, provided there is an effort. And again, by bringing youth in picture to do something. We had organized, life sector melas in Karnal, Dr. A.K. Srivastava, and also from the Haryana government side. And we found that there are animals, bulls for semen production. And the cost of one bull, even if you pay them 50 lakhs, they will not sell you. Even 1 crore for one bull has been also cited at one time. And the best buffalo of Murrah has been sold at 30 lakhs. So there are examples. And one farmer is there in Jean. Again, I didn't cite the example. He has got 2,000 Murrah buffalo. And each Murrah buffalo is costing more than 5 lakhs of rupees. And every data of each buffalo is documented electronically. And he is not also agriculture graduate, but he is a son of a farmer. And he has linked himself to the market through his own dairy, what he calls his Lakshya dairy. And Lakshya dairy is beating even the government dairy. And farmers buy, or any consumer buy, the milk from Lakshya dairy, not from the Vita or from other government sector dairies. So there are options. And livestock has great potential, but in livestock, where is the extension system? Where is involvement again of youth, which can be even for paravet services? You can make all the difference. If you have trained a person, and now we want sex semen. Sex semen is available coming from abroad. It can be of great help in case of cattle in particular. And sky is the limit. Inception rate increases substantially. But then you need to involve and you need to encourage and you need to make sure that such kind of, what I mentioned, agri clinics are established where you have experts of this kind, youth trained, available in each district. And KVKs could be an option in that respect.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your kind comments and reply to the some of the queries. May I request Professor R.B. Singh, sir, who is the chairman of this session, to give his valuable remarks. Professor R.B. Singh, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agarwal. As a matter of fact, our most honored, world-renowned speaker today, Dr. Arid Paroda, Dr. Agrawal, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, I was told only 10 minutes before the lecture that probably I may have to do this. I'm an honor to myself in the sense that Agrawal Sahab told me that if you can kindly chair the session. But chairing the session has a responsibility of which I have been asked to do now. That is, if I can summarize and bring out some of the things which have been so beautifully. It's a very profound and a highly topical lecture that we have heard today. Sir, you deserve a standing ovation from all of us, and we are very grateful to you for your very comprehensive coverage, which is expected only from a person of your stature and experience. As a matter of fact, you did highlight, which I think we have to be always very cautious and careful about, that India will, within a couple of years, probably will be taking over China. And by the year 2050 or so, or by the year when the population is stabilized, India will be 400 million people more extra over China, as a matter of fact. And out of these people that we have, the largest concentration of the youth of the world will continue to be in India. Therefore, agriculture and youth being the most important, invaluable treasure of India have to be seen together. And if the two get together, I think India will be the new India which our Prime Minister has been aspiring for. So I feel that this is what we were able to bring, how to marry the two aspects, the aspirational aspects, which has to be really brought into adaptation of our system. And that is a very strong message. We could also get a message that we have to care for in this part of the world or for the world as a whole, the persons, and in the persons, the youth is the foremost today for India. You also talked about many of the problems which were created because of the Green Revolution or the not appropriate way of doing the agriculture or other things, including the water use inefficiency and so on and so forth. So the planet is stressed, the people's stress, the person's stress, the planet is stressed, and you also brought the prosperity aspects, how income of the poorest of the poor, and how India only accounting for 3% of the economy, while America is 40% of the, through that process, as we can see, of contributing to the agricultural system. So as a matter of fact, you did bring about the person, people, prosperity, and planet health together, which is again a very strong message. All have to be seen together. Your priority areas that you defined, I don't have to again mention. There is no room for today poverty and hunger to coexist. The first two SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, India is still far behind in meeting these two goals. We have to make special efforts, and our youth is challenged, as a matter of fact, through the possible policy support to meet first and foremost is the Sustainable Development Goal 1 and 2. 1, poverty, 2, hunger. And then you did mention about how to get over hunger in many ways and so on and so forth. And also the farmer first, the production plus, productivity enhancements, nutrition, fortification. And you did talk about how the best of the science is helping today in fortification and in many different ways, the genomics and so on could be of great help. You mentioned about how the biotechnology at length in cotton was able to help in a very big way. Such examples should be a reality, with the genome editing now being a distinct possibility and being elaborated more comprehensively to be applied at the ground level. I think it is this which opens a new hope, as a matter of fact, for India to raise the economy to not only 5 trillion, but try to reach beyond that, because India has the total potential. Our productivity and the rate of growth of total factor productivity is one of the lowest, as a matter of fact, among the major countries. And we have tremendous scope for innovation, investment, science, technology, and so on, to explore the new ways of doing business. And the challenges will be again before our youth. This is where the aspirational gap has to be fulfilled for the youth. And if we can do that, India will be able to meet both the pillars of agriculture, and youth will hold India in the most shining position. I would also like that our educational policy, new education policy, which has been mentioned, should be able to give the academic contextuality, taking agriculture to primary school, to junior high school, and connecting right from the childhood up to now, up to the age, and so on and so forth. I think this is a new thing which the academy and many other groups have come up with, the new policy for agriculture. So the contextuality and the credibility of academic change should be brought about to promote what we have been saying, the new way of doing the skill development, connecting them and the youth, the RAWE, and also the student-ready programs. RAWE and student-ready programs are most vital today and should be able to go ahead, get the highest support from the government of India. You also mentioned about Yapar, Jifar, and Arya, Maya. I don't have to go into detail. These are all possible. These are all wonderful programs. But when it comes to all these programs, the question is that we should be able to define each of these programs in action mode, in policy mode, in target mode. By so and so year, by 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, I'll move from here to here. My number of hungry and poor will decrease by this much. We must follow it. Governance is so very important. So the implementation pathway analysis, identifying the elements of success, and then scaling up. Because we have mentioned many of the successful programs, scaling up becomes so very important. We have Sultan Singh like people who changed the whole fisheries economy in the north. And if you can clone people like Sultan Singh, I mean to say, we have to make many more youth like him, not virtually, not really cloning, but I mean, you know what I mean, that we have to have many, many Sultan Singhs. And this is where I'm so glad, I'm very happy to tell, as a member of the National Commission on Farmers, I recall we had made a recommendation that our farmers should also be given Padma Award. And I'm so glad that this is happening today. We had also made a recommendation that the name of the ministry should be changed. Farmer welfare should be brought into there. I'm so glad this has been done. But my dear friends, only if there is something in the name, that name has to be really realized through the diversification, taking up making the local more vocal. We have to become vocal for local, because there is not much independence between global and local. They are too much interdependent. COVID has told us that there is so huge global interdependence, so there is stress our mightiness to improve. So if this is happening, we have to see that how we can incentivize new of the innovation, which can bring the disruptive changes in business unusual. And for that, sir, you mentioned about 15 points. I don't want to repeat. I just want to mention 2 of those, which will mean that there is a need for marrying the science social responsibility with corporate social responsibility to really ensure quality input supply, market format linkage, and all those things to be linked. So the value chain approach and the linking together for youth with the new ideas of innovations, precision agriculture, artificial intelligence, digitalization, and you name of it, drones, you name it, mechanization of the highest order, protected agriculture, the profound scope of all those things. So it has to be brought about by saving, we can grow. We must not allow the kind of post-harvest losses we occur. We must save to grow. And with this kind of approach, if you are able to have the appropriate value chain way of moving forward, then we can marry the science of discovery with science of delivery. We discover one thing, but unless it is delivered, whom it is discovered for, with the appropriate way of really realizing it, we are nowhere. And there is a huge gap, and this huge youth population must be energized, incentivized to bridge this delivery and discovery gap. And this is where we often talk about extension and so on and so forth. So in a country like India, a very differentiated approach. The Himalayas are different from the ocean in the south. And each one of the coasts is different from the plains in the north. Punjab is different from Kerala. All those socio-economic, spatial diversities, and responsibilities have to be kept in mind. So this is why I say a differentiated, disaggregated approach based on the specificity and capacity of individual locations. We have to move forward. The youth has to realize youth belongs to it. The whole system is for the youth. And I think with that consideration, the approach of the One Health, One World, which we are rebuilding after the COVID devastation, teaches us many ways to move forward. And I'm sure the future roadmap, which you mentioned about, I will certainly vouch for one very strong, a national mission on youth. Seems to be so very important that we must be able to create this that will enrich our value chain, that will encourage our youth to really get entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial youth is the treasure of the nation today, and for bridging the gaps that we are talking, bridging the global gaps that we are talking. My dear friends, let me say, with my regards to Dr. Paroda, that youth is our hope. Youth is our hope. Youth is our future. Youth will marry the agriculture with the best of the approaches that will help to develop India as a new India. I wish you all a wonderful evening. I thank you for the opportunity, Agarwal sir, to be here and to really say a few words. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your nicely summarizing and giving your valuable remarks. And I really cherish this platform and cherish the talks given by different speakers. And the chairman like you, Professor R.V. Singh, sir, who is always giving the value addition, because it's a time for the value addition. And unless we have the value addition, the agriculture cannot grow. And thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful talk and the plenty of points which you have given, which we have noted down. And we are going to bring a document of these 75 lectures before 15th August. And that will be released, where we are making the salient recommendations from each lecture. And you have given a lot of points, so we'll see that how best we can accommodate those points. And thanks to all the audience who is always very eager to listen and very receptive. As you know, they are all very eminent persons, the vice chancellors, the directors, our old colleagues, like you can see Professor Bengali Babu, you can see Dr. Yadav, many persons in the audience. And to general public, so we give access to the live streaming, and we give access on another customized platform like the students. So there are a lot of persons, and even after your lecture is put up on this ICAR website, there are a lot of persons, more than 1,000 persons who see later on. So this lecture is going to be very useful for the students also. So thank you once again, sir. And thanks to Professor R.V. Singh, sir. And thanks to each one of you for attending this lecture. Thank you, sir. Namaskar.